I do record these, so if you ever need a class, just text me and I'll give you the link. I was I'm doing it a different way now, so it's a little bit easier for me to forward it on to you if you need to. So if you have to miss and you still want to do yoga, wherever you may be, you can do it. So, all right, let's turn this on airplane mode. That always works best. So welcome everybody. Happy Friday already. This week has just flown by. I don't know if it's the back to school thing or what, but I had to really think about it this morning. Is it truly Friday? So we've been kind of working through my book and just we're on lesson number 3. There's 10 lessons, so we're going to be doing this a while, but a lot of them are related, but I do still feel like it's worthwhile to reflect on them. So lesson number 3 is, there are no mistakes, only lessons. So we sometimes think that we have done things wrong and it was a complete failure, but there's a lot to be learned from failures, right? So she says, human growth is a process of experimentation, trial, and error, ultimately leading to wisdom. Each time you choose to trust yourself and take action, you can never quite be certain how the situation will turn out. Sometimes you are victorious, and sometimes you become disillusioned. The failed experiments, however, are no less valuable than the experiments that ultimately prove successful. In fact, you usually learn more from your perceived failures than you do from your perceived successes. And I've found that to be so true in my life. When you consider the hardships of life, the disappointments, hurts, losses, illnesses, all the tragedies you may suffer, and shift your perception to see them as opportunities for learning and growth, you become empowered. You can take charge of your life and rise to its challenges instead of feeling defeated, victimized, or cast adrift. So there's something to be learned in every situation. Please close your eyes. As you sit and breathe, just turn inward. Check in with yourself. Please bring hands to heart center. May we all put ourselves out there, say yes. Because even if we fail, there's a lot to be learned from the experience. And there's a lot of grace that you'll notice all around you and within you. And please lower your hands, open your eyes. So last week we moved quickly. This week we're just going slow through the poses. So you guys all look pretty comfortable seated where you are. So just bring your right hand off to the side stretch your left arm up and then just kind of arc over. Feel your left sit bone grounded. And just hold it for a while and see what you notice. Sometimes when you breathe through a pose, you'll notice kind of a lengthening happening in the muscles and the ligaments. When you move quickly, sometimes your muscles kind of seize up and say, no, whoa, we don't want to go that fast. So when you breathe into it, now turn and face the knee and bring your left hand down and just stretch out over the knee. Wherever it feels like a good stretch. And again, just hold and breathe. And then come on up and switch sides. I'm going to grab Artie and put her upstairs because she's coming down for the allergic people. Sorry. Yeah, you can't come down. I'm sorry, baby. So just arc to that side and feel it. And then when you're ready, you can turn and face the knee. Good, and then come upright and just fold forward now. And just go slow. So you go to a spot where your body says, okay, that's a deep stretch. And then as you breathe into it, sometimes you feel this letting go of the muscles and ligaments. Keep your legs really engaged though. Your spine nice and long. When you go slow, you have a chance to be a lot more mindful about your movement, but it's easy to let your mind wander. So try to keep it with your physical body, with your breath. Good, come on up. I hate to say it, but now we're gonna switch the shins that are in front, which feels weird. Bring your right hand out and arc. I always ask myself, do I have a curve in my low back, that natural curve? Can I engage my rib cage back, lengthen the back of my neck? And then it feels like when I arc, it feels a lot nicer. I'm always trying to lengthen my spine. Good, face your knee. Bring the hand down, the belly faces the knee. And just a little stretch. I don't get into different muscles than what you felt before. And come on up and switch now. Take your time setting up and feeling like it's a really therapeutic stretch for you before you attempt to go deeper. And it's a really slow process. And turn and face your knee. Keep the bones grounded, hip creases back, spine nice and engaged. And then come on up and fold forward. I think more advanced yogis, and when I say advanced, I just mean people that are body aware, not that they've been practicing yoga for a long time. They're just more aware of their bodies. They enjoy a slower practice more, but sometimes it's you just want to move. So that's all good too. Take 2 more breaths. Slowly come up and come to all fours position. And bringing your hands right under your shoulders. Just move into cow pose. Start with your tail. Keep thinking long spine as you slowly work up. Your head just an extension of your spine. And then hold in cow pose and think, oh, feels like my hands and my knees want to isometrically pull towards each other. I still think long, long, long spine first. Good. Now round to cat. Feel nice and long in the sides of your body. Draw the rib cage way back. Really broaden between the shoulder blades a little bit. Tuck your chin. Now it feels like my hands and my knees are kind of isometrically pulling away from each other. Good. And then pause in a flat back. Bring your hands forward and just kind of tell yourself, I want to spread the weight on my hands. Curl your toes under, lift your knees and go slow and think, okay, I'm going to keep my shoulder girdle nice and strong, and I'm slowly going to stretch up to downward facing dog. And then find a spot where you can be still with it. Maybe you'll still feel a lengthening in your spine, which is, like I said, what I always want to feel first. Maybe you feel some stretch in your feet. The arches are lifting. The heels are stretching. Achilles, calves. This is better for you on your elbow, Mary. You can do that. Yeah, there you go. Because we're going to try and hold it now for 5 more breaths. So if you need to come down, if your body is screaming at you, please do. Listen to your body. But if you can hold it, 2 more now. And then lower your knees. Stretch your shoulders over your wrists. Lower your hips as you bend your elbows and come to cobra. And then lower all the way down. Stretch your feet long. Move these so you can see. We're going to do funky cobra. So come up on your fingertips and your hands move wide and forward. And set your rib cage and lift to cobra to hold for a few breaths. Funky cobra is just a nice feeling. You don't have to lift so high. And lower back down. Bring your hands back by your chest. Curl your toes under and push all the way back to downward facing dog. And then come forward to plank to hold that for a moment. Now, if you need to lower your knees, please do. Press through the finger mounds, lengthen the back of your neck, draw your clavicles, broaden them, but hug the elbows in. You feel super strong in the shoulder girdle. Two more breaths. You know when you need to come down. And then lower all the way down. And come on up to regular cobra. Lengthening your spine. And lower down. Good. Push all the way back to a child's pose now with extended arms. Come up on fingertips. Sometimes we have perceived failures in yoga because you think you should be able to get into the deepest, most final phase of the pose. But those aren't failures. You just learn more about your body as you move. Remember, the relationship with your body is so important. So you just kind of learn more about it and work with what you have today. Every day is kind of different. Come on up to all fours. Now I'm going to have you grab your blocks and bring them under your hands. And step your right foot up. And if you have sensitive knees, you might want to use a blanket under your knee or the pad, yeah. And hug to the midline. Feel your right foot grounded. So all four corners, hugging your left knee forward, bring your hands to your thigh. As you feel your hips square up, you feel the legs and the feet super active. And you can keep all that and then slightly bend a little deeper if it feels like your muscles are saying, oh, okay, I can do that. Anjane position. When you hold things for longer, sometimes you feel that letting go feeling in the muscles and ligaments. Even though I'm really holding a lot of muscle energy and drawing to the midline and really lengthening my spine, I can feel things lengthening out. Good. Touch the block. Bring the right hand to the inside. We did this last week. Walk your foot out to 45 degrees. So the kneecap and the toes point the same direction. I like to walk my hands back. Right hand to the knee, left hand to the hip. And then just notice, and you can, keeping the hips square to the front, just bend a little deeper. You'll feel it on the inner thigh. Hopefully not too much on the knee. It's a lot of knee time. So every breath, you kind of just notice what's going on. Maybe you can bend a little deeper. I keep my spine nice and tall. That's why I like the hand on the hip, because I'm reminding myself, lengthen and keep that spine integrated. Good, touch it down. Now walk that foot maybe almost to 90 degrees. And same thing. When you get upright, you'll be able to tell, are my toes and knee pointing the same direction? Bring your right hand to your thigh, left hand to the hip. I always have to walk my foot out a little bit, and then I can really activate the feet, lift the arches, and maybe bend a little deeper. The hips kind of try to stay square to the front. I feel my glutes working. I feel the hamstring stretching. 3 more breaths. Good. Come on in. Bring that hip in. Hopefully you can still feel it, and switch sides. I'm feeling mine a lot. Good. Come up to that Anjane position. I like to just keep my hands on my thigh. Again, it kind of reminds me, long spine, really active legs and feet. And then I can just breathe into it and feel a slow opening. Letting go, if you will, in the muscle, but no, I mean, you're still actively using that muscle. When you have muscle energy and then you lengthen it, that's when you get the benefit. One more breath. And touch down. Bring the left hand to the inside so you can walk it out 45 degrees. Hand to the thigh, right hand to the hip. Just check, is it tracking straight? And then breathe into it. And work up a sweat more when you work slow. When you work all these muscles and stabilize all these muscles, that your balance for every day improves a lot. And as we get older, that's a concern, right? Good, touch down. Make your way to the 90 degrees. I just have to walk my foot out a little bit. Hips stay square. Lengthen spine. Breathe and bend. Lifting the arch. Arches. You have more than one arch in your foot. When you activate the muscles, they all lift. You feel all 4 corners pressed down. 2 more breaths. Good, touch down. Come back to all fours. You might have to walk your hands forward. And then just set the blocks off to the side for a moment. And come into a position where your hands are in front of your shoulders to then lift to downward facing dog. Draw your rib cage back. Broaden your clavicles. You'll feel the armpits hollow. Down dog is a big pose. Good. Come forward to plank. Lower to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale down. Downward dog. And slowly step your feet to your hands to come to a forward fold. Make sure your feet are hip distance. You might put a little baby bend in your knees. And then think, I'm activating the legs and feet. I can feel it. And then maybe I slowly straighten the legs. Let my spine lengthen. And then just hold in forward fold Uttanasana. Just see if the weight's right in the middle of your feet. Sometimes we have a tendency to lean forward. Yeah, and use the block if you need to. It's okay. Try not to round your low back. I'd rather have you bend your knees and get a long spine than round the low back to get the legs straight. One more breath. Bend your knees, bring your hands on your thighs, bring your torso upright. Think low belly draws up, sits bones stay back, long spine. Maybe bring hands to heart center. Utkatasana, chair pose. Stay with your breath. Well done, everybody. One more breath. And on your exhale, press into your feet and stand up. Extend your arms up. Tadasana. This way. Good. Bring your right arm down. Keep that, just check from your feet all the way up. And then arch. I like to keep a little baby bend in my knees because that reminds me to keep the hip creases back so that I can keep a curve. Rib cage stays back. Maybe you don't even have to have that arm arched over because you want to feel that shoulder back and then integrated. Good, come on up. Stretch that arm up and switch. Take your time. Weight stays in the right foot as much as the left. On your next inhale, come back up to center. And please fold forward. Uttanasana, bend your knees if you need to keep the low back. Yeah, good. Awesome. Grab your blocks and bring them by the outside of your feet now. And step your right foot back, deep lunge. And just kind of feel the deep lunge. So I always have to bend my right knee or my heel and my hip in the same line on both sides. Feel all four corners of the foot, and even the back foot where the heel is lifted. I want to make sure I have big toe mound and little toe mound grounded. And I'm really active with the foot to keep both sides. And then maybe you can stretch the leg straighter. Hug to the midline. Lengthen your spine. And then go ahead and lower your back knee, but keep all that. And come up and just let your arms dangle. And then very slowly with each breath, maybe you can stretch up to the full pose of Anjane, keeping long spine, integration, shoulders back, rib cage back. Anjane Asana. One more breath. On the exhale, touch the blocks, lift the back knee and step back. Downward facing dog on the blocks so that you can step your right foot forward to the deep lunge position. Good. Again, just kind of be mindful with your back foot, your front foot. Check and see if your hips are square to the front. Lower the back knee. Hug to the midline, slowly come up. And just take your time, just kind of thinking I'm working from the ground up. Want to integrate everything. Stretch up to the full pose. Please touch down. Lift the back knee, step forward, forward fold. This time, really nice slow pranam where you extend your spine and fold. And then come all the way up with your inhale to standing. Exhale, hands through heart center. And then inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. And fold. Step your left foot back first. Deep lunge. Ground the back foot down, left hand to the hip. And you might bring your right elbow to the knee too. Or you can use the block. Your choice, because we're going to Parsvakonasana. So the right knee is bent. You can feel all the work you did on your hip. Slowly twist open. Feel like the left foot is your anchor. And then if you want to, you can extend the arm if you're feeling connected. And maybe extend it by the ear. Parsvakonasana. You know we're holding it for a while, so just kind of make sure that you feel super aligned. You feel like that back foot is supporting you. Maybe you can get not so much pressure down on your hand or your knee. So you feel really grounded through the feet and legs. 2 more breaths. Good. Touch the left hand down, turn the left heel up. Step back, down dog. And step the left foot forward, deep lunge. Now I can see you when I turn this way. Right hand to the hip. Take your time. I always have to put a baby bend in my back knee so that I can really feel, do I have everything grounded, and then I slowly open. Maybe extend the arm. Rib cage is back, shoulders are back. And then maybe extend the arm by the ear. Do you have that back foot grounded, so much so that you feel like the feet and the legs are what's holding you, your spine? You can even see, can I lift that left hand up? Or double. One more breath. Good, beautiful. Touch down. Turn the back heel up and step forward. Pranam with your next breath. Hold. And inhale, sweep all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold. Pranam. Hold. Right foot back, deep lunge. Again, just make sure that you have the appropriate width between your feet. Your hips are square. You can use your hands on your side to come upright. Crescent warrior. Just go slow and mindful. I like to start with my arms dangling, and I know, okay, I'm really grounded. I can slowly extend up, I think. I want to keep everything in alignment. If you need to lower the back knee, you can. If you keep the back foot as your anchor, you feel much more stable. Two more breaths. You can do it. One more breath. And touch down. Whew. Step back, down dog. Step the right foot forward, deep lunge. Setting up for the second side, just kind of notice. I always have to really notice that back foot and whether I have enough distance. I slowly come up. Hips stay square. Stretch up. Rib cage back. Left foot is your anchor. Right foot is a good anchor too. Two more breaths. And please touch down. Just step your blocks off to the side for a moment and step back, downward facing dog. So don't go on vacation in down dog. Just be thoughtful and notice. And then come forward to plank. Lower to the mat. Cobra. And lower. Push back to all fours. Grab the blocks again. Down dog. And step your feet up. Forward fold. Come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good, I'm going to have all of you turn towards the middle. And you at home, you can turn whichever way you want and take a wide stance so that your feet stay on the mat. If you need blocks, if your hamstrings are tight, have them there. Good. Yay, say hi, everybody. Good, now bend your knees slightly, hands on the knees, and swivel your heels in. And get to a spot, so make sure your knees and your toes point the same direction. You feel like you could stay here for a while. So feel like you're using all parts of your feet. The weight feels pretty even. You can sit as low as you want. And then keeping the curve in your low back, lengthen up, bring hands to heart center. Goddess pose, but you're gonna find stillness here. Really good, you guys. Keep thinking rib cage is back, long back of neck. Tracking my knees straight. I don't want them to come in. You might have to back out a little bit as you breathe. 3 more breaths, you can do it. Good, bring your hands to your knees, swivel your heels back out and fold forward. Wide-legged forward fold. Might have to keep your knees bent a little bit. Feel the weight right in the middle of your feet. So different forward stretch than what we've been doing. So just notice when those muscles and ligaments slowly open up a little bit more. Awesome, you guys. Try not to round the low back. And now coming back up the way you came, I like to use my hands and my knees to help me come up to standing. Now everyone turn your forward foot forward. We're going to triangle pose. So think from the base up, I'm going to connect. Your back foot is your anchor. Your block should be there, or you can use just the shin, come to triangle. Yeah. Sit bones are back, rib cage is back. Shoulders are on the back, especially the right shoulder. Beautiful, you guys. Get to a spot you can really stay for a moment. Two more breaths. And come on back up. Oh, I forgot to tell you, bring your block with you if you're using the block. Switch hands, switch feet. Are we sweating? Yeah. I know, me too. Notice that back foot is your anchor. Really active front foot and come into the pose. Just check your spine. I still have a curve in my low back, but I'm trying to get my rib cage back, and then I can get my shoulders back more, lengthen the back of my neck. I don't ever try and look up anymore in triangle pose. Just try and feel like I can get in a comfortable position where it feels like a nice stretch. You can play with how much weight you're putting in your hand. Back foot's the anchor. Three more breaths. Come on up. Good, turn both feet forward. Pause for a moment. And bring both arms up. Bring your right arm down and arc to the right a little bit. It's going to feel different in this position. I want you to be mindful with your shoulders. I always have to keep my elbow bent now so I can feel like it's a good position for me. Good, come back up. Switch. Come back up, both arms up, and then fold forward again, prasarita. And then heel, toe, bring your feet together so that you're in a forward fold. And we're gonna go to a deep squat. So I want you to, we're gonna stay in it for a while. So if you need your blanket, grab it so you can just bring it under your heels. It should be pretty close proximity, hopefully. So turn your toes out. It's okay if your heels come up, you just shove the blanket under there, come down to a deep squat. And if it doesn't work for your knees, do something else. You can do a katasana, you can lay on your back, do something. I want you to feel grounded through all parts of your feet. You can round your upper back, just don't round your lower back. I like to bring hands to heart center, then I can give my shins or my knees something to press into the arm. And just keep thinking, really active feet. You can get the weight in all parts. When you stay in this position for a while, you start to feel it in your shins, or at least I do. Yeah. Try and keep the arches lifted. Let's go 3 more breaths. And then however you can, go ahead and transition. I know, transition to seated. And just find a block and your belt nearby so they're in easy reach. I'll bring them on this side so you can see. And go ahead and lay on your back. Turn the lights down a little bit. And just have a moment where you're not really having to do much of anything. And then just notice, are my feet under my knees? Hands are by my hips so that I can, and think along, maybe lengthen the sides of your body a little bit and then press down with your arms to get the shoulder blades flat on the mat. You'll notice the curve in your low back. I'm going to have you lift to Setu Bandha and hold it. Now, your block's handy, so if you get fatigued, you can just slide the block under your sacrum there and rest on it. So everybody press into your feet evenly, lift your hips. The goal is not to get the hips as high as possible. The goal is to keep connected through feet, legs. Maybe if your arms can stay full length, you can interlace your hands underneath you too. You can press down. I always have to tell myself long spine in this position first, and then maybe I can take rib cage back and let my heart lift. And I'm really using my arms and legs more than anything else. Isometrically feel the feet drawing towards you, maybe towards each other, activating the glutes, the hamstrings, everything. And stay for 3 more breaths. And on your exhale, lower down. Relief. Hug your knees in towards your chest and just hold there. No movement really, just notice a letting go feeling. And then bring your left foot down, locate your belt and bring it over your right arch and closer to your heel so that you can just feel a grounding down. You might have to bend your right knee a little bit. And then extend your left leg. And that's what I want you to feel. That left leg is your anchor. You're grounded there. Just kind of put some pressure down. You still feel a curve in the low back. Nice long spine. And then just holding the belt with your right arm, reach up as high as you can. Bring your left arm out to the side to help you balance. Left leg and left arm are your anchors as you slowly let that leg and foot come off to the side. When your left thigh starts to come up, you've gone far enough. You just pause there. And then with each exhale, you kind of notice a letting go. I have to keep a baby bend in my knee. It just feels better for me. If you can get your right elbow to the floor, that also feels a little better. Long, I draw my low belly up. I keep the curve in the low back. I lengthen all the way through the top of my head. Good. And then bring that foot back up. Switch hands. So bring your left hand on the belt, your right arm out to the side. And this time I'm going to let your right hip come up. You're going to come all the way across for a twist. So your right shoulder stays down. You can twist all the way over. Your left elbow can come down to help support you. The left leg still feels like an anchor, but maybe your foot has turned to the side because your right hip stacked more on top of your left hip. I still maintain a really strong, long spine to engage the twist, and it feels safer. Good. Come back up to center. Reach your left foot up. You might want to grab the belt on each side to switch. Extend the right leg. A little pressure down to see, do you still have the long spine? Hips are square. Hold it with the left hand, right hand comes out to the side, and just make your way using the right leg and the right arm to anchor you down. Don't come far enough that anything lifts. Just feel gravity and your left leg opening up. I like to bring my elbow down just to kind of help support, because then I can put a little pressure through the heel all the way down my leg into my hip socket, and it feels nicer, helps me maintain the curve. One more breath. And come on back up. Switch hands, left arm out to the side. Just pause, think long connected spine, and then roll to the right hip as you come into the twist. Don't roll far enough that your left shoulder comes up. You can bring the right elbow to the floor. It helps. Leg stays in the socket. One more breath. And come on back up. Release your foot from the belt. You're out of bondage foot. And come back into Setu Bandha position. And this time we're all going to come on the block. So you can either bring it to a low height or a medium height as you bring it under your sacrum. So whenever you're ready, this is a really nice restorative. So still think long side body. You'll feel kind of a opening of your abs, belly muscles. You'll know it's in the right place if when you lift your feet, it still feels good. And you can do that if you want. You can extend the legs up. You can just keep the knees above the hips, whatever feels good, but you still feel Setu Bandha position. I could stay like this forever. Feels so good. Bring your feet back down if they're not on the ground. Take 3 more breaths. Bless you. And then lift up, slide the block out. Bring your feet, your soles of your feet together. Let your knees open for a moment. Supta Baddha Konasana. Try and find some stillness there. And then bringing the knees up, bring the feet wide, maybe even further than the edge of the mat, and let your knees come together in the middle. and just support each other. And then please move into a good Shavasana position. So stretch your legs long, palms up if possible. And settle in. You should be so focused on your breath already, just from what you were doing, just kind of holding those poses and breathing through them. But you can now use the breath to relax deeper. And as you settle in, I'm going to read you a story. It's from The Speed of Light by Gwyneth Craven. The story is about a young girl from Morocco whose father was a spinner. He became prosperous in his craft and took her with him on a voyage in the Mediterranean. He wanted to sell his thread and told his daughter that she should also look for a young man who would make her a good husband. But a storm caused the ship to flounder near Egypt, killing the father and casting the daughter ashore. Miserable and exhausted, barely able to remember her previous life, the girl wandered in the sand until she finally met a family of weavers. They took her in and taught her how to make cloth. Eventually, she became contented. But after a few years, she was captured on the seashore by slavers, who then sailed east to Istanbul and took her to its slave market. A man who made ship's masts went to the market to buy slaves to help him with his work. But when he noticed the girl, he took pity on her, bought her, and took her home to serve his wife. But pirates stole the cargo he invested in, and he was unable to buy the other slaves. So he, the girl, and his wife had to make all the masts themselves. The girl worked hard and conscientiously. The mast maker found her to be so capable that he eventually granted her freedom and made her a partner in his business, which she came to enjoy. One day, he asked her to accompany a shipment of masts to Java. She agreed, but off the coast of China, the ship was struck by a typhoon. Again, she was washed up on a strange seashore, and again she cried out against fate. Why do these bad things keep happening to me, she asked. No answer came. She got up out of the sand and started walking inland. There was a legend in China that a foreign woman would appear and make a tent for the emperor. Because nobody in China knew how to make tents, the whole population, including one generation of emperors after another, wondered about this prediction. One year, the emperor sent out emissaries to every town to bring all the foreign women to the royal court. In due course, the shipwrecked woman arrived before the emperor, who asked her through an interpreter if she could make a tent. I think I can, she said. She asked for rope, but the Chinese had none, and so recalling her girlhood as the daughter of a spinner, she asked for silk and spun it into rope. She asked for thick cloth. but the Chinese had none. And so, recalling her life among the weavers, she wove the kind of cloth used for tents. She asked for tent poles, but the Chinese had none. And so, recalling her life with a mast maker, she made tent poles. When she had all these things ready, she tried to remember as best she could all the tents she had seen in her life. And at last, she put together a tent. The emperor marveled at the construction and at the fulfillment of the old prophecy and offered whatever she wished. She married a handsome prince, remained in China, surrounded by her children, and lived to a happy old age. And she realized that although her adventures had seemed terrible when they were happening, they turned out to be essential for her ultimate happiness. There are no mistakes, only lessons. Just come back to the surface with your breath. Start to move fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. If everything still works, draw your knees in when you're ready. Roll to the right side and push on up. Take your time. Please bring hands to heart center. Thank you all so much for practicing today. Bow to the light and the beauty in each of you. Namaste. And have a fabulous Labor Day weekend. I'm kind of sad it's the end of summer, right? Oh, I don't want it to be over. Yeah. Bye, everybody at home.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, have a great day,
Too.
weekend. Bye.
Bye.